Greetings, greetings. Patrick here. Have Cheetah will view a questions with. Welcome to Tuesday, everybody. Uh, it is currently 24 to 24, 34 degrees. Wow, it rose up. It was 22. I guess we got a little bit of sun toward the end there, and it warmed us up. But it has been cold this week. Um, Yeah, I went out to the library today and got in the car and it said 22 degrees and I was just like, wow, when is we didn't have any winter at all. Now we're getting it late. Um, and that sometimes that happens. Sometimes we've even gotten snow as late as in April. We've had snow, so not unheard of here on the here in southeastern Michigan. So welcome to the show. We will be talking to actress Susan K. Chambers here in about 15 minutes. Um, this will be a lot of fun. And I gotta give Susan a lot of credit. Like I mentioned yesterday when before we talked to Katie Grams, um, this is Women in Horror Month, and I asked Susan, and she's got a couple of credits on her. She's done a couple, but overall, she's not like a horror actress. I mean, it's not what she's known for. She's more of a classically trained actress, more of a play. She's home on the theater. Her mom was extremely talented, and she also was from the theater. This is an elegant, refined actress. This is polished, professional, elegant. Um, and she says, like a lot of them say, "Well, am I right for here? Is this the right format for me?" Yes, yes, it is. Because you're not sitting here. We don't have a strict set of rules that we're asking you. About horror movies and all that other stuff. We go wherever you take us. So if we're not going to a horror, if we're not doing horror tonight, we're not talking about horror tonight. We'll do our best. There's some credits that we could definitely talk about, but by no means are we lashed down to just doing one genre. We go where the guest takes us. Whatever the story they want to tell us, we're going. That's how it is. Um, yeah. Hey, Casey, how are you, sir? I will say that we had a tremendously fun time with our guest last night, Katie Grams. Wow, what a delightful young lady she is. That was a lot of fun yesterday. Um, I can't wait to have her come back. I could have really honestly, I think we probably could have kept going yesterday. Um, it was just that kind of vibe. The chat was really engaging, and it was just a good time was had by everybody. And that's a one I would definitely recommend for replay. That's for sure. And in fact, I do believe that our good friend, Makeup Mom and Son, Michelle, she actually did. She actually, I think she also replayed Becky Rue as well. So thank you for that. Thank you for the replays. The replays mean everything. And of course, your comments do as well. So if you're hearing this, if you hear me and the cheetah talking right now, I'm good, Casey. Oh, good. I'm good. I'm glad you're doing well, sir. Um, I might be pulling the trigger on a movie. I saw they have a Blu-ray version of Godzilla versus King Kong from the 64 one, 66 one. I might be pulling the trigger on that. Hey, it's Dale Stark. Gosh, I haven't seen you in like God, I can't remember when. How are you doing, young man? Welcome here. Are you sub to me, Dale? I don't know if we're sub to each other. We're gonna have to check that out. I definitely gonna have to check that out. But if not, please hook up, and I'll do the same for you. Uh, uh, um, so, yeah, go ahead and hit the when you watch the replay. Go ahead and hit comments. Drop a comment down below. Hit the like button. That also helps out the channel quite a bit. Um, and of course, I have all the upcoming shows that are coming up here, and you can hit the notify me on all of those. So you will never miss a show. If you hit the notify me, you will be notified. That's a lot. That is a guarantee more than just hitting a notification bell because everybody knows YouTube doesn't care about that. but the notification, the notify me button on all the live streams, you will get that. Um, uh, okay, good, good. I just haven't seen you in a long time, Dale. I know that I know I generally see you with I want to say her name's Julie. I know Julie is a tremendous supporter of yours, and I always see her mentioning you. But I just haven't seen you on my channel for a while, so I'm glad to see you. Hey, it's our good friend Heroic Waffles here, one half of Reject Waffles, coming soon to a live stream to you. I don't know when, I know, but I don't know when exactly, but I do know that Reject Waffles is coming. Uh, it's such a good name for a show. I sort of wish I could do that for my show. Oh, yeah, I caught your little stream earlier, sir. The little test you did. I saw it. I saw that it only lasted for 2 minutes, and I was thinking, well, what happened to it? How come it only lasted for 2 minutes? And then I saw that YouTube took it down because you're wearing that nasty ass New York Mets shit. I'm going like, well, if he wears the Mets gear, of course YouTube's going to take it down. They don't allow stuff like that on the platform. That's right. That's right. I'm talking baseball. Um, you have not been friends for a long time. You and Julie. You got to be kidding me. That's wow. I'm sorry, Dan. It's not my business, of course. I'm really sorry to hear that though, because I always saw her. I always saw you two shouting each other out. It was always a constant thing I would see, and it was really cool to see. I'm really sorry. Wow, man, that sucks. In 3 weeks, Michael, you and Dan are starting your live cast in 3 weeks. Sweet, sweet. Well, you're more than welcome here, Dale. You're more than welcome to come on and hang out with us, and anytime that you want to. We're doing a lot of shows out this week. We're doing 7 shows this week. Seven shows in 6 days. Actually, let me bring the calendar into play because I think that I'm actually on a run here. If things go well, yeah, if things go well, I will not be off until the 24th. Every day I'll be on. I'll be doing a live show from now till the 24th. So every day we're going to be doing something here on Eight Questions with. Um, so yeah. Speaking of that, let me go ahead and let you guys also know to feel free to share us out as when you can. That'll be also be helpful. This is a dual stream, so if you're hearing this in Facebook, um, you could comment. Just give Facebook permission to use your name, and you'll be included into the discussion. I'll make sure that you see. Make sure that it is. Yeah. So we'll be starting the show. Will start at 8 o'clock at Facebook, and so you're more than welcome to come on in and take a look at that. In fact, let me do this real quick while I'm here. All right, I forgot to do that. I forgot that I put this on for a dual stream, so now I had to go over there and let everybody know about it. You're gonna go live for in a minute? Not a problem. Not a problem. Um, have a great live for sure. So Waffles and Dan from Rejects Film, they'll be going up in 3 weeks. I'm going here till now to the 24th. Let me tell you what's coming up on the channel because we do have stuff coming up on the channel. And tomorrow we do a double header. That's right, we're doing 2 shows tomorrow. We were talking with film director and actress Amina Hatchery at 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock. We'll be here tomorrow at 2 o'clock. And then tomorrow night at 8 p.m., we'll be talking with special makeup artist Bree Hill will be here with us. Uh, she'll be here talking about doing effects on horror movies and how to apply goop and gore and all that good stuff. And she will be here talking about that on the 15th. You know, it really seems to be a lot. So many more and more women are getting into the special effects game. They're going to the schools. They're going to the colleges. Like places like Tom Savini's school. There's a lot of women that are doing that, and they're not just doing the makeup anymore. The pancake and the lipstick and all that. They're doing all the good gore effects too. They're doing horror effects, bites, rips, tears, all that good jazz. Women are doing it, and they're doing it fiercely because I've seen some of their work. It's incredible. You wouldn't know who did it. You would assume a guy had done it, but more and more, it's. I think the makeup game is taken over by women, and it's badass. Uh, you will say you did patch it. Okay. Well, you know what? Some people's feelings are really thin, Dale. That happens. Unfortunately, sometimes it can be miscommunication or what have you. I know both of you guys are really good people. That's something I know. I know you guys are both really good people, and I'm really sorry to see that. Like I said, I mean, you're one of the strong. You guys, your friendship. I always saw it. I always saw it on display. You guys were friends. And so our good friend Ed is yes, yes, I did. I thought your movies were great. I thought you did really, really well on your new movies. You, you saw Boogeyman, Ed? I have not seen Boogeyman in forever. Are you talking about the old one or the brand new one? I know there was an old one in the '90s, in the maybe the 2000s with Barry Watson. I saw that one at the theater. I don't know if there's been a new one since then. Um, I got some new movies today too. I went to the library. For the last 2 weeks I've been to the library. It was really, really dry as toast. And so I went this week, not really, not expecting to get anything, but I did. Had a really good haul. Got some really fun titles, including one movie I've been looking for over a year to come through the library, and it finally did. And when I tell you what it is, you guys will laugh because you'll think that, gosh, you should have gotten that really fast, but it's not always the case anymore. Physical media, it's not being replaced when a disc is broken or scratched up. um it's gone. It's like gone forever. It's not like, because the film studios, they're not making them anymore. So they make a 10,000, 10,000, make 10,000. That's what you're gonna get for a lot of movies. And every year, movies get ruined just like anything else. And so every year it gets less and less and less. That's why a lot of movies, their prices go high. That's the reason why you go there. I'm going to type in to see if I can get Antichrist, and there it is, just staring back at you for $100. It's because it's not being replaced. It's not being made anymore. So, and it's hard to find. Now you could type in Black Adam, and you'll see like 10. You'll see thousands of Black Adams. But come back in 2 3 years, you won't see as many. It's not as many out there. They get ruined. They get, they're collected. They don't people don't sell them. They hold on to them. And the film companies aren't making them. They're not going to go out there and say, well, what are we going to do this today? Let's make another 10,000 Black Adams. They're not doing that anymore. So that really drives the sale for old movies up. And I mention that because I finally found, after well over a year, and you're gonna be surprised, um, but I found a copy of Scream, the first Scream, 1996. That was hard to find. Now, yes, could I have gone on eBay or Amazon and get it? Yeah, I could have, for a price, but I didn't want that. That's not what film hunting's about to me. Film collecting it's an art, sort of like our next guest, who's just now coming through the basement. All right. Let me go get her, and we're gonna have fun talking to our guest, Susan K. Chambers. Here we go. Ta-
Hi.
Hi. All right. Welcome in. Welcome in. I'm glad you're here.
I'm glad to be
Uh,
here too.
yes, I had to explain that again about that. Because you mentioned right before we went on, like, I'm doing Women in the Horror Month, and if you fit, and I'm going like, yes, you do, you fit perfectly fine. Though I do have to admit, like yesterday, I'm going like, here I am, I'm inviting all these independent horror actresses to come on in there, or screenwriters or everything. They're all coming in, and then it feels like I'm inviting a Shakespearean actor to come on in.
Oh,
It's just like well, you know what? But it's gonna work. It's gonna work.
I'm
Um,
I'm not really a Shakespearean actor, but I have been on the stage.
yes, you have. You have been. That is. I think that. Do you feel like that's more your second home, rather than in front of the camera, or do you find in front of the camera more your second home?
When I'm on stage, um, and, it's completely different. When I'm on stage, I love that, and when I'm in front of the film camera, I love that. I'm doing my homework at home. I'm doing my rehearsal by myself at home until I get on set. And when you do stage, you're doing rehearsal with everybody for about a month before, you know. So
Yeah, you definitely get a lot more rehearsal time with stage than film. I mean, I
I,
don't really. I mean, you get table reads, right? For film, sometimes you get table reads,
well, I
but
do
overall,
hours and hours of rehearsal time at home before I get on set. It's just by myself or with my
right.
coach or preparing in many different ways.
But as far as the cast goes, live, when you do a play, you're doing it with a whole cast.
Yeah.
When theaters rehearse, like with film, they rehearse certain scenes. But for theater, do you rehearse like the whole play? Do you go through the whole play every time and looking for things that maybe that happened the night before, like a
Uh,
missed line or misstep or what have you?
well, each director is different, but usually you're doing it in different sections, different parts of the play. And then when it gets closer to being on stage, then you start going through the whole thing.
Mm.
Yeah.
Our friend Casey says hello. Uh, 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 it says hello. Can you see the chat? Okay, Susan.
Pardon? Can
Can you
I?
can you see the chat? Okay.
No, I don't. No, I don't see any chat. I mean, I can click on the chat.
If you click on that, it should bring it up.
Uh, Chat with everyone in the studio is all I see. I don't see the
Oh,
chats.
okay. I can go ahead and cover that for us.
Okay.
Uh, Casey said hello. So
Hi,
yeah,
Casey.
he's here watching us. So okay, so that is that to me that fascinates me about though, because I've never really thought about that. But like when you do rehearse for theater, it's like you have to sing every song that even though you got done singing it, like or do you even rehearse once the play starts? I mean, I know you rehearsed up to opening night, but after that, do you practice after that, or is it just like you're in for it now?
You're on your own after it starts, pretty much.
Wow,
The
wow.
director's on to another play, or you don't see him very much. So sometimes that's the time. But
So if you
everything's
practice if you
changed. And
practice for a theater, you practice in theater, you practice for 20 days up to opening night. After opening night, you're not rehearsing anymore. You better just be on target. I mean, as far as the whole cast goes. You're
Yeah.
not.
The director
Okay.
pops in every once in a while and gives notes, but that's about it.
Okay.
That's what
Okay.
I've seen so far.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, I mentioned that because your mom was a very accomplished theater actress.
Yeah. We used to dress up in all our clothes when we were kids. Her stage clothes. Yeah. We
That must, but now is that where your love for the art came from? I mean, like how old were you when you realized what your mom was doing? And did your mom do it full time for a living, or is this something that she did on the side, or is this she sounds like she was full time?
she did it before she had us. I don't know how many times she got to do it after she had three daughters, and my dad was kind of a jealous man, so he didn't he kind of poo-pooed it. When I grew up, she would do a play or two every once in a while whenever she could, but and I would go see her, and us girls would go see her. But I think Dad was a little jealous. Yeah.
Do you look a lot like your mom?
I feel like I look like my mom more now that I'm older. Uh, I have I have a few things of my dad's. I have his legs. He had thin legs. He had sexy legs. Um, I have my dad's eyes, I think. I have my mother's bone structure. I have my grandma's nose.
I was just trying to figure out if you look like your mom and your dad was jealous. I was going to say I can understand that a little bit,
Mm. You,
because it's tough because here you are because acting is it's so intense. That's why I guess there's so many sudden relationships a lot you hear about it all the time. It's like your leading lady and man, they'll get really intense real close because you have to be. You're in close contact.
yeah.
Hello, Echo.
Um,
Not saying that happens to everybody, but it does sort of happen. Like if you're every night you're singing, you're doing Phantom of the Opera. I'm sorry, I don't care who you are. By the 10th or 12th night, you're gonna have emotions to that for that person, whether they be whether they be that deep
temporary
emotion,
or
yeah, or temporary. You're gonna have it.
yeah.
It's
I
gonna come
I
out.
make myself have feelings for the other person. I talk myself into having feelings for the other person and then usually fades it fades away when the play is over or the film's over.
Right,
But
right.
you have to, or else because the camera sees everything, and I'm sure the audience can see everything on stage.
Oh, I think that's part of the attraction. I think that's part of the. I think when people go to see plays, I think that's part of what they look for. That when they talk about, oh, they had chemistry or they were on fire together, they're looking for that. I mean, it's part of the experience. You don't want to watch somebody just come out there and just sing to each other, but not have any passion, toward each other. I mean, that's what you can get away with that on camera, but you can't really get away with that
Oh,
on the
I
theater.
I feel like you can't get away with it in front of the camera even more because it's the close-ups and they see what you're feeling on the inside. That's what we're taught is to feel that on the inside. It's more personal. It's more um, I can't think of the word. It's very personal in front of the camera. On stage, you're bigger. Your all your movement.
Everything's blown up. All the emotions are a little bit bigger because you have to be presenting a more of a theater,
Physicality.
more, yeah. See, because see, theatrically, you have to be. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Um, so I mean, like I said, I understand that. For the actors, that is part of part of it. You have to tread lightly. Have to be careful about that. You know, I guess as far as that goes.
Yeah.
Um, but what an interesting aspect of it. What an interesting aspect of acting to because I we haven't really talked about a lot of that on here. I know here we are on show 255. Um, but we really never have really talked a lot about what it's like to have to be into that, intimacy range. I mean,
I mean, I did this film, it never came out, which really saddened me. But Mike Farrell was my father, and uh, no, I can't. No, I can't think. Barbara Eden was in it. The original Hot Lips. I can't think of her name right now. She played my mother.
Sally Kellerman.
Sally Kellerman. I loved her. But from MASH, Mike. He from the TV show MASH. He played a bad father. Angry father, and he, everybody has their own process, or training, and his training was to stay in character the whole time. So he was not friendly until the last day, and then all of a sudden he was friendly. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. So that
Um,
was cool. And you know what? I feel I do that. The last film I did, called My Seven Grandmas. It's a dramedy. Um, I was the crabby librarian lady that was in charge of all the other ladies, and I kind of became that person at times. So I can see how he did that.
yeah, because and you have to admire someone like Mike Farrell. You have to admire his acting skill too,
Yeah.
because if you really think about it, to me, I always thought was really hard was when someone had done TV and they had worked really hard to develop a persona on TV, always being the nice guy. I mean, like that's all they play. They played the
Yeah.
nice guy. Mike Farrell was on
Right.
Mad. I remember Dennis Weaver. Dennis Weaver was always the nice guy. He was always the good guy, and then he wasn't. He played an alcoholic dad, and all of a sudden he wasn't a nice guy, and it
I
was
have
so
fun playing the mean ones.
yeah. Especially if someone notices you for you're always in a really upbeat, really good part. You're
Yeah.
always front and center. You're always smiling. You always have whether you're the leading lady or you're the best friend, but you always have a great persona. And to me, it's so cool to be able to go back and just come back there and see you come in with a little bit of steel in it. You
Right.
know, that's got to be. I mean, that's got to be a lot of fun too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Now,
the
go ahead.
last two things I did there, they were comedies. So it was I was mean, but it was funny, kind of funny mean. So I'm excited to see My Seven Grandmas. It's not out yet. We won the Bill Murray Award for the short film called VIP. I did with Marissa Coughlin. She
Yeah.
was she was in Super Trooper One, Super Trooper Two. She's been in tons of stuff. Anyway, I was a mean lady in that one too, but it was funny. So who cares?
The Bill Murray Award, is that for so it's a film festival that you did, and your short film, was it a short film or a feature film now?
It was a short film that Marissa wrote and produced, and she was in it. And I played the mean lady that confronts her in the parking lot. It's
Nice.
funny. Yeah.
Congratulations. I mean, Bill Murray, I mean, that's quite an honor. I mean, Bill Murray's one of the best comedians going this generation. I
And
mean,
there were some good actors in some of the other shorts that we were up against. I was surprised. First of all, I didn't know she entered into the Twin City Film Fest, so that was a nice surprise. Then it was nominated, and when I saw all the other ones, I just and then I found out the Bill Murray. It's not just his name; he actually watched them and chose ours. So I was in awe. I was in awe.
now, did you get to go up there and accept did they give you a trophy?
Marissa got it, you know,
Oh,
but I was there. I was there.
right. Oh, well,
I was
hmm.
there.
Yeah, what's
Very,
up with that?
Oh, well,
What's the festival called? The Twin Cities Film Festival?
yeah, it's a pretty big
Okay,
festival. It's a
okay,
really nice one.
I'm gonna have to go right here, right now, on record and saying, "Yo, give the cast some trophies. Let them recognize their work. Don't be
Well,
tinsy."
she wrote it and produced it and funded it, so she gets it.
Hmm.
I was lucky that she asked me to work with her. I felt blessed.
She seems like she's a really good performer too.
Yeah, she's
She's
really
got a lot of.
nice too. Yeah.
Now, when you're watching that, because it's sort of funny because when you started out on film, even though your mom was a theatrical actress, a theater, worked live theater, you started out in film, and then one of your teachers is the one that got you to go on stage, saying,
Yeah,
"Yeah,
Larry Moss. If anybody ever has the chance to work in person with Larry Moss, oh, he's amazing. He chooses what you're going to. Pairs you up. He chooses what play you're going to act out in front of him, and it takes 2 weeks. You're doing a 2 week rehearsal with that person. I mean, this is not I'll just memorize my lines and go to film class. No, this is very serious. And you will never be the same after you take one of his classes. He's so amazing. And he really, really encourages everyone to be on stage. And he's right.
yeah." Now your career started out when you started out your career. You took a hiatus in the middle, which a lot of women do because a lot of women they want to start a family. So I've actually we've talked to a lot of actresses who started out, did a few things, got their career going, and then took a hiatus and then came back and pick it up again. Um, when you start, how old were you when you actually got your start, as far as acting goes? Were
Um,
you
I
in
was I was
elementary
a flight
school? Or,
attendant. I was a flight attendant, and the base opened up for LA, and I was waiting for something like that to happen. And I was the first one there, and I was there for 5 years. And being a flight attendant's a perfect job for an actress, in my opinion, because you have a lot of days off and you can pursue something you love to do. A lot of
yeah.
flight attendants were actors out in LA, and anyway, that's how I got out there. Um, I Taft Hartley'd for SAG, film where I had said a few lines. Um, and I never joined because after that, I was taking classes with Roy London, who's also one of, he's like a Larry Moss. Uh, you know, Sharon Stone took his class. A lot of big actors took his class back in the 80s. And anyway, I chose to hop in my car and drive home and raise my daughter in Minnesota, hoping
Um,
I'd be able to.
what led you to become a flight attendant? Was it?
Mm. Okay, I come from a family of pilots. My father loved to fly. I mean, when he was a child, he used to build gas airplanes and fly them till they crash, and then rebuild them and fly them. And he was in World War II. That's where he got his hours in. But he's
Um,
99 now. He's still alive, and he's
and he fought World War II.
still very smart.
Was it
He fought in
what
World
kind
War
of pilot
II.
was he? What did he find? Did he fly? What kind of planes? Do you remember what kind of planes he flew?
All I know is I cannot remember what plane, but it was more of a cargo or a bombing. There were three pilots. He was the navigator. They got shot down by Japan, and he saved the captain. The plane was sinking, and the captain was disorientated and knocked out. He revived him, and then he had to find his way up. And I think that was the most frightening thing he said, because you're so deep into the ocean, you can't find which way is up. When
Right.
but he saved the captain.
Wow. Um, he was a cargo, so he probably flew with DC-7 or DC-3.
Yeah, maybe I know they also would drop bombs because he has
Oh, they went up. Okay.
photos of the bombs. I actually own the shell of one of the bombs. My mom used it as a laundry weight. I'm like, I'm taking this.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Wow, that is so cool. And your dad is still lucid today. He said he still
Yeah,
talking.
my
Yeah.
mom passed away, which was why I went back out to LA. My house
Right.
burned down. I lost my job. My boyfriend at the time cheated on me. So broke up with him. My mother passed away when I was trying to rebuild the house. I was the contractor because the insurance company didn't give me enough to afford uh, um, to build
Uh,
it
di-
back the right way. It was
Yeah. Sure. Insurance companies always enjoy to deal with, aren't they?
yeah, it was really bad, and so I did a lot of the woodwork. I did a lot. The roofing. I did a lot of the stuff myself. My dad, he wasn't just a pilot, he was also a builder. He just built a house one at a time all by himself. So we were his free labor. So I learned,
You come from some really good stock here, Susan.
all of us, he forced all of us to learn how to fly. So we all can fly an airplane.
So you got your pilot's license.
I have soloed, but I chose to put my money into acting instead of
Sure.
flying. And I had bad eyes, so I became a flight attendant instead of a pilot. My sister became a pilot. She was a pilot for United.
Oh my God. Oh, she flies for United. Oh,
She
that's
just
exciting.
retired, actually.
Oh, okay.
My
Oh, I bet they
cousin
didn't
was,
like that. I bet they didn't want her to go.
my dad loved that she was a pilot. And
That
my
is
cousin was a pilot for American, and my other cousin was a pilot for uh, oh, one of the airlines that it's not Southwest. My sister's husband was a pilot for Southwest. I mean, I literally come from a family of pilots. My mother got all her licenses. Uh, so
oh,
anyway,
so I mean, I mean, I'm sure you're extremely I'm sure you're extremely fearless. Nothing rattles you, I'm sure. That I can tell you that now, because we always hear talking about theater, like you're without a net, you're out there without a net. Well, you can't get much more without a net than in a damn airplane. Um, so I mean that's on the theater, that's like, yeah, that's just like it's a Tuesday. For most people it'd be like, what do I do now? For you, it's a Tuesday. I'm not rattled by this. Uh, uh, so now, did you start acting in high school? Did you go to college before? I mean, what I mean, I mean, I know you said you started as a flight attendant, but did you try to start acting first before you did that, or was that something you did it and then started doing it, then realized you wanted to act?
my mother encouraged me to at least audition. So I did audition for one play in high school, but I was really nervous. It was scary, and I wasn't prepared. And when I got to college, I really wanted to take an acting class, and some of my other, I was a cheerleader for hockey, and some of the other cheerleaders wanted to take an acting class. I'm like, good. So we all took this class, and I was horrible. They all were getting A's. I was C's. But when I am horrible at something, it makes me want to do it more. So here I am, plugging away, trying to be better all the time.
Would you describe yourself as a perfectionist, Susan?
No, no, definitely not. Not if you saw my house. But I'm very creative. Uh, I think it stems down to my dad, where he taught us just to never give up, to always try, and to always ask, and to, if you fall off your horse or your bike, get back on. That's there was no room for crying, and you know, he wanted us all to be boys. He got all girls, so he wasn't very happy about that. So we all learned how to do boy stuff.
Right.
Kind of
So
made me happy.
you could be glamorous and elegant at the same time as you could and throw a mean fastball at this. I can get it. I
There's,
get it.
there's two sides of me. I'm a tomboy, and I love to dress up and
Oh no, yeah, yeah. That's exactly how I actually that's how I described you. I said, here you are. You're because you come across the word I would use for you is elegant. I mean,
oh,
and that's
mother
that's yeah. I was just like, what you and I were doing our little pre-show the other day, and I'm sitting over here going like, this is a polished professional. This is a actress. I
No,
mean,
I'm just pretending.
uh,
My
yeah.
grandmother taught us all how to be ladies because she was from England. Her father was on the Parliament, Sir Francis Osborne of the British Parliament, and we had tea time every day, and she taught us how to be ladies, really. So she taught us how to curtsy for the Queen because she literally thought that we would someday curtsy for the Queen. But of course, that never happened.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know what? You never know.
You never know.
You might see Charles, in a couple weeks. Who knows? That's the beauty of life. You just don't, you never know really what's quite around the corner.
Yeah, what's around the
Um,
corner?
so what was your first acting project that you did that you actually were on stage for outside of a college? What was the first acting job that you did? Was it on the theater or was it in front of a camera?
It was in front of a camera, and I swear, tragedies always bring me back to acting. So I went through a divorce,
Uh,
and I had gotten into commercials and modeling and things like that, and they asked me to audition for this game show hostess for a TV show called Lucky Day that was being filmed here in Minnesota. And I didn't. I met the director, and he says, "If this dress fits, you're it." So I made sure that dress fit, and I had very long hair back then, and they called me Vanna White. And I got to work. Olivia Dukakis was in it, Chloe Webb, Amy Madigan, and I got to work closely with Chloe Webb, who is a Stitch, and we laughed so much. And I was so green. I didn't even know to ask for my Taft Hartley card, so I did not get credit for that part
mm.
or anything. So I learned some lessons.
Now you said that was a lucky day. Was that you said it was a game show or was it a
No,
play
it was a movie
or a
about
movie?
Olivia Dukakis was a recovering alcoholic. Uh, One of her daughters was Chloe Webb, and the other one was Amy Madigan. And Chloe Webb played a child that had been born with a deficiency because of the alcohol syndrome or whatever. So she had a learning disability, and she wins this ticket to be on this game show, and she wins $1 million. And then all of a sudden, her mother, Olivia, who never wanted to see her,
Is
wanted to
now
be
her
in her
best
life
friend.
again. And Amy Madigan, who raised her, was very upset about it. And it was a story about family and struggles and things like that.
Now, how what was it like when you first met some? Because at that time, I don't know. I mean, I'm maybe I'm just don't know. I've heard the name Chloe Webb, but I'm not really aware of her work. Of course, I know Olympia Dukakis and I know Amy Madigan.
She was in
Well,
the movie Twins and she was Danny DeVito's girlfriend. Do you remember that movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger? And
yeah, she was really cute in that. Okay,
yeah,
yeah, okay.
She's
I'll go back and yeah, I now I seem to remember her. Yeah, she was like a she was like sort of like a Jennifer Tilly type. Um,
she's
really
recently
cute, bubbly, real bubbly.
yeah, she is very bubbly.
Um, what was it like working with, that's your first movie? I mean, had you done any theater work at that point? At that point, have you done any theater work to before you did the first movie, or was that your first anything?
I mean, if you count tap dancing and things like that.
Oh my God, that's your first there. That was your first anything. Oh my God. Oh my stars. Okay, so
Third in the
that
state tap dancing. My mother got me into that. I think she made me do Miss Teenage Minnesota. Uh,
well, you were tap dancing on that movie set, that's for sure. Holy crow! You now did anybody know that that was your first anything? Like I'm new
oh, I'm
here. I mean,
sure they did. I was so green. I was so green, but it was fun. You know, I learned as I went.
right.
Every time you do something, you learn and you get better. And every audition you do, you learn and you get better.
I like the fact, like I mentioned to another another actor or actress. I mentioned how like even now I was reading about this about Harry Hamlin. Harry Hamlin said, he did an article on him in People magazine, and I read the interview with him, and he says that he goes to acting class every week. He goes every week. He goes to class every week. I was so impressed with that because that guy's had a hell of a career. Yet he's not averse to going to sit and learn and stay active. Um, so I don't think there's ever anywhere. I think anybody who decides to rest on their laurels, that's so risky,
All
especially
the
with
all actors, even the biggest ones, say they always have to. They have the coaches. You know,
right.
they're
Yes.
all they're all still learning. Everybody's learning, getting better, learning
So now, then
new.
was that movie filmed in L.A. or was that filmed in Minnesota?
Which one?
Your first movie that you did.
Oh, the first one. That was Minnesota. That was during a time when we had a lot of rebates, and so a lot of movies were coming to town. I was very lucky.
Yeah, yeah. I wish
Get your trip.
now it seems like all the movies now, like a lot of the hot spots now are like Georgia and Ohio and Louisiana, Florida.
Atlanta's huge. I'm based in Atlanta now. I because of my being a flight attendant, I fly back and forth a lot. I have a place down there. I have a
Now, and
agent.
are you still but are you not doing the flight attendant anymore? Are you?
No, I retired. I
Yeah,
took
you retired.
they offered early out. It wasn't really that early out for me, but I took it, and
Yeah.
um, I
I thought all the airlines were like short shaft right now, short shifted, or
well that this we're talking 10 years ago or something like that.
I bet have you got a call back? You got a call back from the airlines? I'm sure they probably, hey,
I
she's still young. Get her in here. 10
I,
years. Hey,
I
hey. Yeah.
there are times when I really miss it. I loved being a flight
Do you
attendant.
do you
I
really miss
love people, so
what did you like about the job? Before we go back to acting, what did you like about flying?
that's like being on stage right there. But I
Oh,
love
no kidding.
people. I love making people happy. I really loved the job. I I love traveling.
It seems like being a flight attendant today, God, certainly was different when I was young. It was way different when I flew when I was a kid. Uh,
There's always
you know,
challenges. There's
yeah.
always
I
yeah.
mean,
But I
you've
like
gone to,
challenges.
yeah.
I like solving problems, and there were a lot of problems.
Have you thought? I mean, are you allowed to go back to say, let's just say for the hell of it, you said, I'm going to fly for a year. Could you get back into it? I mean, if you wanted to, not that you would, but could you do that? Would that be? Have you thought about something doing
I
something like
have. I've almost filled out the form. The only reason I haven't is I'm the I don't want to lose my flying privileges, and as long as I if I went back and I decided it wasn't, it wasn't for me or anything, I'd like to be able to quit after 5 years or something and still have the flying privileges like I
Oh,
do
that's right. Yeah, you get to fly. Is it free now, or do you have to pay a percentage?
now. It changes based on
Yeah.
contracts that they have for the flight attendants and the pilots and the unions. But sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't.
Mhm. Mhm. Um. Well, so how do you like being based in Georgia? I mean, what do you like about it? I
Well,
mean,
I was based in Los Angeles, and there's a lot of actors there, a lot of actors there, and it's very young. And I like Atlanta because it has a lot of, I get to audition for a lot of TV shows, a lot of fun films. I really like the casting directors that are all there. I thought about going to New York because I love New York. And I just love the people. I love the people in New York. I love the people in Atlanta, uh, Midwest. Um, I never felt like I fit in when I was in Los Angeles.
it is
That's
a cold city.
that's the
It can
bottom
be
line.
it can be a cold city, can it?
Well, everybody's out trying to make it. Um, I think they're almost afraid to be your friend. When I took all my acting classes, I think I was the oldest in every class when I went back, which was weird for me. I go to New York and take classes, and everybody's my age, so I kind of like that,
Right.
or closer to my age. So I when I took Larry Moss's class in New York, I made tons of friends by the end of the weekend. I took Larry Moss's class in LA because I used to follow him wherever he went. Um, I mean, I met some wonderful people, but I don't know. There's a difference in the air. I can't explain it. People
Yeah.
trust you more in other places other than in LA. LA is very an untrusting world. It seems to me. When you meet a Midwestern when you're in LA in seconds because you can sense it almost, and you're like, hey, you're friends immediately.
Right. Right. Because yeah, yeah. It seems it's funny because on the independent films, it just does seem that the crews bond a little bit more on those sets. But I get that. I can understand that. I mean, there's everybody's it's not desperation per se, but you're right. It's hyper competitive. And
Yeah,
everybody wants the shot. Everybody wants to get picked up.
yeah.
But to me, it's like that's the beautiful thing about being based in Atlanta. It's like you're right back. You're LA minus half the people already there. Instead of have to compete with 100,000 actors, now you'll say you only have to compete with say like 20, and your odds are going to be much better there than they are in LA.
Actually, a lot of people are coming to Atlanta now. There's
Yeah. Well, the good thing about that, like I mentioned, though, is like Ohio, Florida, Louisiana, they're blowing up. I mean, there's a lot of work in those places. I've interviewed a lot of people from Ohio that are just
I
they're
heard that.
yeah,
I have friends in Ohio that I've worked with on films. I did a Lifetime film, and when my buddy, he's still my buddy. He's in Ohio. So
yeah. There's a lot of opportunity there because I'm with you. I mean, I've heard about Georgia being the next Hollywood, and then everybody's going out to Georgia. But then I'm hearing
they're
that
coming.
at the same time. Now I'm hearing Florida. Now I'm hearing like I said, Louisiana. We talked to an actress yesterday from based in Louisiana, and a couple last week, and one tomorrow, as a matter of fact. And things are just really, really busy. It's a good time. You're in a good place to be right now. Now, of course, the writer strike is coming up,
I heard.
They're talking about that. Have you been taught? Do you and your peers talk about that? Like the strikes coming up, that maybe not acting so much, but editors or screenwriters or directors. Do you guys ever talk about something like that? Is that open talk on set, or is that something that you talk about only in like on social media?
I haven't really talked about that very much, but I do have some writer friends. I need to reach out to them and see what they think about that. I remember years ago there was a writer's, uh, you know, strike. I remember, I remember but they'll settle just like everybody else.
You know what I hope. Here's what I hope for you guys. I hope that they hold out,
I mean,
and
if
I
they
I
hold
hope.
out, they'll get good contracts and they'll settle. It's not never ending, so I
No,
don't worry about it.
but I'm hoping that they hold out and they fight and they strike the first blow, because I really was disappointed for you guys for your last contract. So disappointed to hear that how easily they caved in. It used to be where you got residuals, through physical media. When or if your movie got played. But now there's no such thing for that now because of the streaming services. You don't get residuals off streaming. Okay, yeah, you didn't, but you
The
should.
writers don't, or the actors don't
Actors,
either.
actors. I dare say, I dare say, I don't. I'm really curious and let's see if the writers have. I don't think they have either. I don't think anybody's has reaped the benefits of streaming yet in any of their contracts.
They
I
get
don't
a
think.
little bit. It's just not as much as syndicated TV, right?
Yeah, but streaming is blowing that away.
That's
Streaming,
sad.
yeah, it's blowing that away. I mean,
I
you
mean,
got
I,
so
I
many.
do have a lot of films that were on streaming services. I never saw any.
Yeah. See, I couldn't understand that when last time they went to negotiate for the actors. It's like that would have been the very first thing to bring to the table, other than health insurance, is that saying like for now on you're going to pay residuals every time you stream something, and maybe not in house. Maybe they sit there and say, well, I don't want to pay in house. Okay, well, you don't want to pay in house, but when you stream Susan's movie roles in Lucky Day, and it's streamed, and now here it is, it can be picked and watched by anybody at any time. It's no longer, when you sit there and you had to wait until a show come on. Like, okay, is my movie going to be air on this week? I don't know. Well, now you do know, because now they sit there and say, well, Lucky Day is good. We're going to start showing Lucky Day for this whole month. Now people have an option to watch it. So let's say 3,000 people watch it every week. That's lost to me. That's just taken away from your gift. It's like she worked hard on that. Pay her something for it. You would be paying it. You would be paying her something if you were showing it on network TV. So what's the difference?
Well,
What's the
hopefully
difference?
that changes.
I,
One
I
thing
hope so.
the thing that I really don't like, right, is, and it has come from the whole COVID thing, is the mandatory vaccinations that don't work. They don't work, and the boosters don't. The boosters aren't stopping the virus from spreading, and they're not stopping you from getting it, because all my friends are getting COVID, and they've had so many boosters. I can't go.
Yeah, yeah. It's like I mean, yeah, that's a tough one. I've seen performers that have lost work because of that, and it really sucks. I have my own personal opinion about that myself, but as far as the people and being affected by it, like yourself and whatnot, it's a dual-edged sword. It's like, yeah, yes, yes and yes. Yes, it sucks, and yes, there should be done more to protect the performers. Like if they don't want to have a shot, then yeah. then you shouldn't take work away from them per se.
I wish they would recognize some of the other alternatives. I mean, I know that there's controversy on all of it, but there has to be other alternatives.
Have you lost any? Have you lost a job because of that, Susan?
There's
For
there's
the
I
for
just
the
turned
COVID?
one I just turned some auditions down because I didn't want to do the boosters. I'm done with all that. I'm just I'm just there's too many studies out that show that I mean even Bill Gates said it doesn't work, and it doesn't stop the spread, and it doesn't stop you from getting COVID. So I don't know.
I think you know what? I honestly, I still think it looks honestly, it looks really dead serious. It looks honestly the best defense against the COVID. It's the last thing anybody wanted to do though, and that was to wear a mask. Nobody wants to wear a mask. It's the number one defense against it, and yet people wouldn't do it. It's like it's like I don't understand that. Um, like I still, and I know it's sort of silly. Here you are, have a mask around your ears, and you're wearing it, and then you have to do a scene, get real close to somebody and do a dramatic scene, and then go back and put a mask on. I can understand how this is silly that looks.
I mean, I don't mind being tested. I'll test till the cows come home,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I just say look at it this way. You know what? Yeah, that's what I think too. It's just like test me. You can test me every day. That's fine. If I pop up with it, then fine. That I understand that if I come up with COVID, I understand that I run the risk of being replaced. I understand that. But until that happens, that's like counting the cows before they come home. You know, let's
usually the usually it takes 3 days for you once you're uh, infected to get COVID. So if you're working on a set, you've gotten it from somebody else that's
yeah.
had. I did when I did that Seven Grandmas. The director got COVID. Some of the other crew got COVID. I did not get COVID. I was around all of them. I never got anything. They all wore masks when they came on set because when they came back to make sure, but none of us actors ever got COVID. I don't know what to say about that, but so I guess we were careful enough to keep it away.
The professor mentions he hasn't stopped using a mask when going outside, both to protect himself and the people close to me. And yeah, that's me too. That's me.
If I'm
Yeah.
in the airport and somebody's coughing, I will put a mask on.
Mhm.
What I really think is the people that are coughing and sneezing should be wearing masks because that's what projects it to everybody
Yeah,
else. I wish
that's what I mean. It's
I
it's the
wish they
it's
would
the number
just
one defense. It's the number one defense, and people, it got politicized. It's just like it's common sense to
the
wear a mask.
regular people that are well, they're not spreading it. It's the people that are coughing and it goes 20 feet that
Hmm.
are spreading it. I don't know. To me, it's a common sense that, Japan has had that for 50 years where if you're sick, you wear a mask.
Yeah.
And everybody that's well doesn't wear a mask. I used to
Um,
fly to Japan. That was my favorite country to fly to because they have so much. They're so polite. Um, I love their culture.
yeah. Well, I was gonna say, well, I was gonna say if you're on a set and that happens, I mean, it's gotta, you just tell people to, like you would hope that you would hope that they would use common sense, like, if they're not feeling very good, don't come into work, if you're not, if you, or get tested or whatnot. I mean, it's gotta be a really, as far as an actor goes, it's gotta be really frustrating to have somebody come on set that is battling a cold or whatnot, whether it been COVID or not. I
Well,
mean,
the
it's gotta
thing
be
is,
one.
if they're boosted, they can still spread it.
Yeah.
So they think they're safe and they're spreading it.
No, yeah, that's what I. Yeah, it's not there.
if
No,
they're
that's what I mean.
feeling
They're
sick.
they're not using the number one defense. They're not using the mask. The booster is not going to stop you from spreading it. All it does is just stops you from dying.
I
That's
just
all it does. You know. So
I was lucky to get a role on Chicago Fire, and we all took our COVID tests. They have a whole thing at the set in Chicago, and we all took our COVID tests, and we all passed. And people had the choice of wearing a mask or not. I did not because I didn't want my makeup to, you know, you know.
yeah.
But but I liked how they had a choice. We all took a test. Um, we were all used our common sense.
Are you allowed to talk about your episode yet?
Yeah. It's out.
So,
It's out.
oh, so what was it like working on a show like that? I mean, that's a that's a massive machine there, Dick Wolf Productions.
Oh my God, I
How did you
loved
get
it.
the?
I loved it. They did kind of a little mock table read. You know, we just stood in a circle before we went into the on the set, and it was real cute how we did it really fast. And then we went on set, and figured out their positions. Uh, it was I just loved it. It was everybody was nice. I loved the people I worked with. I have my cheat sheets so I remember their names because I'm terrible at names. But I worked the most with Kara, Kilmer, and Hanako Greensmith, who played Violet, and Brett, the paramedics. I loved working with them. They're so nice and funny. And uh, the director came charging into the room, and she goes, "Are you are you from Minnesota?" And I'm like, "Well, I was born and raised, but I have I have friends in Chicago that I stay with, so I can work in Chicago." And she goes, "I'm from Minnesota. I was born and raised in Minnesota." So,
Oh, how
so we had
cool is
that
that?
really awesome connection, and the two gals that played the paramedics were wonderful. And I can't remember his name, his character's name, but Jake. His name's Jake. He's actually a very handsome boy that
Hmm.
plays one of the firemen. He
Hmm.
was so nice. He was the first person that just stuck his hand out and said, "Hi, I'm Jake." You know, it's really nice to meet you. And it make when you're new on the set and you don't know anybody, and they introduce themselves to you, it makes you feel, uh, it makes you relax and feel more accepted, and really made me feel good that he did that. And Miranda, she's one of the main characters. She's kind of the tough fire girl. She runs the fire station,
Okay.
um, of Station 51, and she had this knit
Yeah,
hat.
you know what? That's funny you mentioned that because you and I were talking about that, and like I was telling you, have you ever heard of a show called Emergency?
Oh yeah, you
And
said that was years ago,
right,
long
and
time
so
ago.
yeah, that came out it came out in the '70s with Jack Webb, and and I'm sure it's not a coincidence. I'm sure it's not, but when that show hit, there was like maybe like 10 paramedics in all the country. Emergency gave birth to the rise of the paramedic. I mean, there was 10 when it started, and there was like thousands when it ended. And the station that they operated out of was Station 51. That
Oh,
was yeah. So your Station 51 in Chicago, I'm sure that is a homage to the emergency, even though it's in Chicago and Station 51 was in LA County. But I'm sure it's a homage to emergency.
cool.
Yeah. I it's funny because I don't have TV. I have movies and stuff like that. I have TV shows, but I don't watch. I don't want to sit down and like turn on TV. I don't have that. But I do have a couple of seasons of Chicago Fire that I want to watch because I haven't seen it. But I love the fact that you got to act in a show like that because it's series TV. Is that something that a lot of actors, when you talk among yourselves, do you ever aspire to get a series? I mean, would you like to get a series before you got a feature film, or or the other way around? I mean, if you had a choice, what would you take? Would you take a regular role in Chicago Fire, or would you take a role, say, doing a Scorsese film?
Oh, really? That's really hard to choose from those two.
I'll put you on the
Well,
spot
if
here,
you're a
lady.
series regular, you have constant work. You get
Hmm.
to know all your actors, and
Hmm.
you become friends, and so
And you get to stick your
I
hand out and shake.
I would love to be a series regular.
You get to stick your hand out and welcome the guest actors to the show.
Yeah,
See,
yeah,
that's a
make them feel
benefit.
good.
Um, yeah, I mean, it's got. Have you ever seen it? Like, yeah, is it a little frustrated as an actor when you're reading the trades or something, or about, some actor will sit there and say, I'm gonna leave the show. I've been doing it for 3 or 4 years, and I just, I want to do something new. There's part of me that wants to sit there and say, what are you doing? Because I understand you've been there for 3 or 4 years, but you got a serious, you're a regular on a series. That's, it's like, is that the golden, like the golden ring? I mean, don't you want it to be on a show like that every week and have a steady source of work? And then, during your small hiatus, I mean, now the network TV is changing. It's no longer the 22 episodes. Every now it's shrinking down to where it's like 13 episodes. So to me, it's like being a series regular. It's like it's not such a career crusher anymore, in the sense that whereas where you have to work 10 months out of the year for 22 episodes, and you don't really get much time to do anything else. Like you've just finished your year, and you want to turn around, you want to be able to do something else. Like I like to do a movie, but you can't because in 2 months you got to start this all over again. So I see both sides of it, but now I see with series being shrunk down to 13 or 14 episodes, uh, it seems to me like an actor can have the best of both worlds now. They could do the series regular, and they can do a theater play or an independent movie or what have you.
Some
Um,
actors are on more than one TV show, even.
yeah, yeah. Um, if you could get on a show that's going on right now, I mean, if they came to you and they gave you the choice of stepping into a role on a series right now, what series would it be?
Oh my
Chicago?
goodness.
You know
Well, it's
what?
going to be one
You
of
know
the
what?
ones I'm watching on streaming.
You know what's funny?
Um,
I'm actually
well,
sitting here. I'm asking you this question, and half of me's going like, "Yeah, she would be the glamorous femme, the leading lady, in the boardroom." But there's half me now after talking to you. Yeah, give me that. Pull that 2.5 inch off that engine. Let's go knock down that fire. I can see you doing that as well.
you
That's
know, I loved working with everybody on Chicago Fire. So I mean, I would love to work on Chicago Fire. But my two favorite shows I'm watching right now, of course, are The Last of Us. The
Mhm.
zombie one. There's one that I just adore. I think it's out of LA. It's called So Help Me Todd. It
Oh
is
yeah,
it's funny, and it's a son and his mother. She's a lawyer. He's a
Marcia
always
Gay
getting into
Harden.
trouble kind of son. And the characters that surround them and them together, I just I just love that show. I just love that show.
That's the
I
one.
can't think of their actors' names right now, but that's my
I think
favorite.
Marcia Gay Harden is the lead. Okay, so that's so funny to me because
I
we're
love
talking.
her.
Me too. Okay, so
I love the guy
okay,
playing
I'm
her
gonna tell you. I'm
son.
gonna tell you a fast story. Are you a Law and Order fan? Are you a big fan of Law and Order? Did you watch it at all?
Yeah, yeah. I
Did you
haven't
watch
for a while, but yeah.
okay.
They
Well,
have the new Law and Order, right?
well, they had the Law and Order SVU. So Marsha Gay Harden, she starred in this show. She came on. She did her starring role. She played an FBI agent, and she saved Elliot. And she's just a badass. Her character's a badass. And
That'd be fun.
she was on like 4 or 5 episodes, and it's like every time you saw her come onto the show, it was like hell yes, you're pumped because it's like she's one of your favorite guest stars.
Hmm.
I don't know what happened to Dick Wolf. I'm not sure who pissed in his Wheaties that day or anything else. But all I know is I went to watch the latest episode with Marcia Gay Harden in there as her agent. So they decided that they're gonna. I just sometimes you just want to go there and say no. Um, and so they decided to make her character a psychopath, a sociopath.
Oh,
They made her lovable character, her awesome character. They turned around and had her become a killer, and it was like,
maybe she wanted something fun like that.
you know what? I didn't see a single fan afterwards, not one, not one. And believe me, I read nobody agreed with it. Nobody was sitting there going,
Hmm.
"Oh, that's interesting," or "That's inventive," or "That's curious," "That's creative." Everybody's going like, "What? No." Um, have you ever watched a role that you would want to sink your teeth into something like that? I mean, if you played a certain role a certain way, um, and then a director came up to you and said, "Well, look, you've been playing it this way for like the last 5 years. Now we want you to flip it on its head and do everything contradictorily what you've been doing." Would that be a challenge for you? Would that be something that you would want to try to do, or
Well,
would you rather just sit
do
there
you
and
think
say,
that maybe she had a say in it? Maybe she wanted to have a little bit of a.
"Now, I have a theory about Dick Wolf." Now this is entertaining. I have a theory about Dick Wolf for some reason that it seems like if you're a woman actor and you work for him and something happens, and you can see the episodes with the actors in it too. And just to say, this isn't just me talking. He kills off the women characters, and he kills them off violently. I think that he got rid of like, gosh, he got rid of Alana de Garza. He got rid of Angie Harmon.
Are we
Uh,
only talking about that show, or are we talking about
Different
all? He
shows,
has a
different
lot of shows.
he has all the shows. He had Amy Carlson, killed her off in one of his shows. There's a lot of his leading actors that he has killed off during the time that they've been on the show. It's really sort of weird because a lot of the guys don't. They're always allowed to retire. One got arrested, or they just or they move out right off into the sunset.
I do not. I cannot.
It's really weird because I'm
I
going like,
don't know if it's. I don't know
no,
who
it's
made
just it's just
the decisions,
yeah.
and I don't know all the history behind. You know the So
It's
I can't
weird.
answer
It's
that one.
weird. It's really. I know, right? I bet you guys didn't know I was a big Law and Order guy, but yeah, okay, yeah, I'm guilty. Like and who was the girl who left, Kelly Riddish, I think her name is. I think they wrote her character off, but she didn't want to go. She didn't want to leave the show. But they went ahead and the only thing they didn't do, they didn't kill her character. Everybody was sitting there waiting for that. Everybody's waiting for her character to get killed. Rollins, that's her name, Rollins on STU. They're waiting for her character to get killed. She didn't. She got written off, but she left the show and she didn't want to. It was not her choice. And it's just like when you heard that and you're going like, all right, how's Dick Wolf going to kill her? How's he going to? Because that's what he does. But he didn't do it this time. So yes, it's pretty good for a guy who doesn't have TV. So what role have you played where you have offered your input on how the characters should do. Like if they came up to you and they said that we want you to flip your character over this way, but you played that character for 5 years. You
Mhm.
know her in and out. You know that that's something that she wouldn't do or say or conduct herself. Would you fight for that character, or would you just sit there and say, okay, and that's what you guys want me to do, that's what I'm going to do? Or would you fight for the character?
Well, I sometimes I make suggestions, but if, at the end of the day, I'm not the producer, you know, so, or the writer, and you got to respect the writers. They have, there's a reason to their how they wrote it, and they take pride in their work, and
Uh,
I'm, I'm just
um,
here to tell a story.
yeah, I just
But
sometimes
I
I
would
feel
put
like,
my 2 cents in, if I
yeah,
could.
yeah.
I'd be the
So you do,
saleswoman. I'd have a pitch.
right?
I,
Um,
I, I did that with Seven Grandmas. I gave them my ideas and my pitches, and I got a couple
good
of
for
them, and I
you.
didn't get a couple.
Yeah, but that's pretty awesome though that you were able to do that, and you felt confident enough on the work set to be able to do that. I mean, for a lot of performers on their first movie or first, all they do is they just go wherever they're told.
Well, that wasn't my first movie. That was my 10th. I do a lot of faith-based films. That was my 10th faith-based film. Um, and then
Do you like doing those films?
I did the Lifetime film. I did not, I was respectful for whatever they wanted. No, there were a couple things. There were a couple things I changed because I saw some things happening behind the scenes. But other than,
Do you like doing faith-based films? Are
um,
you
yeah, I do. When I first went to LA, I think one of my teachers said, find your niche, and that was one of my. I decided to go on that niche, and to be honest, it just a lot of stuff fell in my lap that I auditioned for. I didn't even, you know, you, I didn't choose it, but I got to audition for it, and I auditioned for a small role and for a different film that Kevin Otto was going to do, and he had a series of faith-based films he was going to do, and some big actress. She was working on another film, and she had to bow out of his film because she was not finished with what she was working on. So they went through all the audition tapes, and they called me, and I answered the phone, and I got the part, and it was one of the main actors, and I worked with Eric Roberts, and John Rathenberger was in it, and uh, Lively, Robin Lively was in it, and it was on
okay?
Netflix, and I was very fortunate to get that one. That was faith based. I didn't even know.
Wow. I think faith-based movies are they're interesting. It's an interesting it's an
If
interesting set of challenges for actors. I think
not, like some of the faith based ones, I was one was a true story about I played the mother of her son has cancer, and he touches all these people's lives. It got 8 awards. So I've been really lucky to get these that had good stories, and this My Seven Grandmas is, I mean, this is Scott Peterson's fourth faith-based film, and he loves to put comedy in his faith-based films, and he's a really good writer. I loved the script when I saw this, and so I was excited to do this one.
is that hard? Do you find it harder to do faith-based films than it is mainstream films? I mean, it's because of the the different aspects of the what the film brings. You talk about Jesus and God and your faith, and a lot of people, mainstream films that's really not talked about enough. Um,
It's a different
is it,
group of people that watch them, you know. So,
Yeah, like you did. You said you did a Lifetime movie too. You did
yeah.
you did a
Christmas
Christmas,
movie.
yeah, Christmas movie. Yes, yes. That's wonderful. And you have a really pleasant singing voice too. Now, Did you do musicals on
I don't
on
feel like I do. Uh,
really? Oh,
no,
you did.
I did a play at Theater in the Round, and I played the drunk of the town, and I was the comedy relief of the play. It was called Grand Opening, and uh, I had to sing. I'm like, what? I have to sing, you know? so and so that was my first song, and then I get on the Lifetime film, and she goes, "Oh, could you just, make up a just sing one of your Christmas songs?" I'm like, "What? I have to sing?" so there I am, singing again.
Yeah. No, no, no. Trust me, you have a fine voice. I mean, I was going to ask you, did you do musicals did you do musical theater as
I
well?
love musicals, but I don't feel like I have a good enough voice to do musicals. Maybe I
Yeah,
should
I mean,
try.
that's a theatrical voice, musical voice. It's sort of like a rock and, it's almost even more because you're using it every night.
It's a singy
You
talky. You have to sing talk. I mean, that's how you should do it. A lot of them is the singy talky thing,
right,
acting,
right.
so you can kind of act it
'Cause you
out
can,
while you're
yeah,
singing.
you don't want to get out there and you don't want to get out there and just use up your voice in the first week.
Mm.
What do you do to stay in shape? Between acting roles, do you do anything special? Do you have a special regimen that you do?
No, I should.
I mean, as far as that goes, I'm talking about because I noticed that you exercise you did an audition with the gentleman that was going to help you. So what do you do? How do you exercise your gift
Oh,
or your talent while you're in between roles? I mean, what do you do to stay busy? Do you audition to everything, or do you just audition just to see how it would go, and then um, and see how it would look?
and um, I pick my agent picks out a lot of the good. She picks out the good ones. And she does a really good job picking auditions out that based on my character and characters I've played and my type. And I try to also submit myself to things that are my type. And there's certain things I'm better at than others. You know, I play the I can play the snooty lady, and the rich lady.
Yes. Now we haven't talked about the one thing, and I'm sure everybody in the chat is staring at me, going to say, "Okay, when are you going to ask?" So I will have to ask this. Um, so would you want to do a horror film? Would you want would you like to
Okay,
do a
so
horror film if you got a chance to do it? I mean, if, someone came up there and said, "Hey, we need you to come in and do Scream 7." Would that something you'd be willing to do?
Johnny Westwood wrote a book called Breeding. It's a vampire film, and he's got the book out now, and his plan is to do a film with that, and he's asked me to be in that. So there's one, and then there was another one that was kind of like I'd play a kind of an evil nurse that Johnny was also has written. Johnny's in he's English. He's over in England. I only meet him virtually, but
Right.
so I'm probably that's on my IMDb page. The breeding and the I don't even know what the other one's called, but it's
The
a
evil nurse.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
no, she's not a person.
I have a feeling. I have a sneaky feeling you sort of like playing those those
I
evil roles.
I had a headshot made with no makeup on, with my hair all messy, just so I could be like play the trucker, and I'll submit that headshot, so I can audition for the trucker or the homeless woman or the. I like doing all kinds of different things. I don't like to be the pretty lady all the time.
Yeah. So you're looking for, I mean, someone came through and gave you a chance to to do horror, you don't mind getting all the blood and goo all over you
Oh
and
no.
oh
I had prosthetics on for Chicago Fire, and there was blood.
well, what happened to your character?
She didn't die, so
All right,
her
come
name
back
was
next year.
Dora, and she didn't die. Dora could come back.
Dora can come back.
Yeah.
Bring back Dora.
Yes, bring
Uh,
back Dora.
uh, well, you know what? You never know. You know that. I mean, we've seen that before. Someone comes in and makes a good impression. And they'll sit around at a writer's table and they'll sit there and say, we got a lot of good response from that character. Let's bring it back. And sure enough, that's what happens.
Nice.
Nicole Sullivan. Nicole Sullivan brought back a character she did. It was supposed to be like a one time off. Her character came on Scrubs, and,
Oh,
and she came onto that show. And by the time that her run ended, she was one of the most important characters in one of the most important stories. And it was absolutely heartbreaking and a little bit funny at the same time. Just off of one time, it was supposed to be just a one time guest spot. So it does happen. It does happen. You make a first impression. Of course, you don't want to have you don't want to be Marcia Gay Harden though. You don't want to you don't want to go ahead and get turned into a Looney Tune. That's what they did to her. I was just like, nobody listens to us fans. No one listens. Um,
my
all
my
right, folks.
my favorite parts that I would want to play are ones that have depth, that have
Yeah.
maybe secrets, or maybe or depth, or there's it's she's not just the nice lady. She there's other things going on that, I mean, it doesn't make her evil, but there's things going on
It makes her
that
human. It makes her
that
human.
she
I,
problems that she has to fix, or go through, or you know
do you think faith-based movies
like,
do a good job at doing that, Susan? Do they write characters with depth, or do they just, and the same thing with Lifetime movies? Do they write characters with depth in your opinion?
well, my favorite
Or,
characters are characters that a lot more than just the main character has has some kind of meaty story behind them. um you know those are my favorite kind of things to watch. And a lot of episodic ones where you branch off, and some of the other characters, you don't branch off, but they show the life of some of the other people, that and bring them together and cross over. And
yeah, I
I
like
don't even
that.
know if I'm making sense,
No,
but
I don't know. That's what
I
they
like
do. Though.
complex, you know stories
Right. Yeah,
where
you don't want to
there
just solve in one episode. You like arcs. You know,
I like lots and lots of arcs and lots of background. That's
yeah.
what I like to watch. And you know what? Another one of my favorite shows is Poker Face. And you know why? That show has lots of older actors on it. Have you seen it?
No, but I know Natasha Leone's in it. God, I mean
That's
that
why
I'm
I
so
love her.
happy for
I
her.
love the show.
I'm so happy for her. I mean, because whew, I mean, she almost lost everything, and she was pretty sick there for a while.
Really what?
Um, um, Hollywood's pharmaceuticals. You
What?
know, she just had a lot of personal demons,
Oh, I
and
hope she's feeling better.
yeah, and she just had a real rough time, and but she managed to bounce back and get herself back on the beam, and she's been rolling. She's been on her fire. She's been on fire lately. She did
Good.
Russian Doll that she got a lot of acclaim for, and now she's doing this, and I'm just so happy for her because she's very talented. She's a very talented girl,
She
and,
kind of
and
plays a female Columbo.
I
Um,
know. I'm so intrigued by it, though. To me, that's why. I know they're gonna do 10 episodes, and then I just hope that they turn around and they release it for home video, home use, so I can go ahead and buy the season so I can watch it because I don't have Peacock. So
oh, buy
you
it.
know, no,
I
I can't
signed up
do
for that
streaming.
so I could watch it.
I know, but I can't do streaming. Every streaming is so expensive, and the way that's going to now, where it's like it's all going to be just exclusive. Like whatever NBC puts out is going to be on Peacock. It's not going to be on any other streaming service. So if you like to watch like six different things across six different streaming services, you're gonna have to buy all six services. And why not just call it cable? Because you know, uh,
Well, yeah, at
uh,
least
uh,
you can pick and choose who you're gonna have as your streamers instead of a whole bunch of channels that you never ever watch in your life.
Yeah, I just hope that like just hope they put stuff out so we can actually go out there and buy. Like I would like to go out there and buy some of the stuff that you've done. I like to actually go out and own it. Like okay, I feel like watching a Susan Chamber movie today. I'm gonna go to my shelf. I'm gonna grab the movie. I'm gonna go ahead and pop it out and watch it. I can sit there and out in my comfy seat and instead of just hoping that it's going to be on a streaming service and hopefully it's on the one that I own. Uh, the stream, you know what though? That would be we're gonna save that because I'm gonna have you come back. Yeah, we're gonna talk a little bit more about that. Uh, I want to thank you for coming out and hanging out with us. I absolutely had a blast. Um,
Thanks.
Very tickled. Thank you so much for coming out.
It was.
Uh,
I'm
I
honored to be on your show.
thoroughly enjoyed you to the extreme. I mean, I'm gonna turn around. Let me ask the chat here before I do this, because I don't want to do this too fast. Do anybody in the chat? Do you have some questions? I see that the professor has a question for you, Susan. He wants to know: is there an actor or actress director that would be your dream to act with? Who would be your dream scene partner?
Scene partner or director?
How about both? Who's your dream director, and who would you want to share a screen partner with, a scene partner with?
Steven Spielberg would be my dream director, writer, producer, and I'm sure he's a lot of people's. But
Yeah,
as a child, my bedtime stories were how German people hid the Jews in the walls.
the Schindler's List.
I
Yeah.
I tear up just even thinking about it.
You know what? Thank God for you to doing that too, because I tear up too, Susan. I'm scared for our country. Tell you the truth. So
But my mother was German. She was 100% German, and she had a huge heart for the Jews, and she created us to have huge hearts for them. So I've read lots of books myself. So anyway, I would love that because I love everything he does. Um, somebody to work with. That's so hard. There are so many good ones. The guy on The Last of Us, boy, I would like to work with him. He's hot
oh,
right now.
Pedro
That's
Pascal.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's yeah. But there are so many. I mean, Michael Keaton. I love Michael Keaton. Did I tell you the story about I met Michael Keaton? I was a
No, no, you
bartender.
didn't.
I was living in LA. I was a bartender for the Oscars. Michael Keaton. Oh well, Bryan Cranston came. He's amazing. He came up and he was so nice to me also. But both of them were very nice, and I saw their personalities. I would love to work with either one of them. And but Michael Keaton kept coming back to me because he's like, I like my ginger ale in a bottle. And I go, well, I will save a bottle right here for you. Well, everybody had bottles, but I didn't tell him that. And so he kept coming back, and I would make him his drink with my ginger ale. And then that was
No, he just drank ginger ale.
whiskey ginger ale.
Oh, okay.
But and then the next night, it was the movie Spotlight. They won. I was a bartender for that party because I worked for a service that would bring, if they needed more bartenders, I would be one of them. And anyway, I went there and he came walking and he goes, I know you. What's your name? I'm Michael Keaton. And he shook my name, shook my hand, and everybody else was like,
Did you
so
you didn't go look at him and say you didn't look at him and say you're Batman.
No, I was just having fun. Just happy to be there. I auditioned for Dope Sick 8 times. Did not get a role. So actors out there, if they
It's
keep
tough.
letting you in the room, that's a good thing. If you don't get it, don't worry about it. The casting director liked you enough to keep letting you in the room, and there's going to be other shows that are going to come up. I mean,
Right.
Chicago Fire PD and Med, I auditioned combined all those 11 times before I got the Chicago Fire. So
What are you gonna be?
actors out there, hang in there.
Let's see. What are you gonna be doing next? That will be my last question. What are you gonna be doing? What's coming for you that you can talk about?
I don't think I can talk about it, but I just
No.
auditioned for this true story, and the guy that plays Shazam would be my son if I got it, and that's all I'll say.
Okay.
Everybody else can look up the rest, but it's a true story.
All right.
I
All
love those
right.
things.
Susan, like I said, you've been absolute delight. Thank you so much for coming out and talking to us. I love your heart. Thank you for sharing that about, about that about yourself. My respect to your father. Thank you to your father for the service he did. And he is a national treasure, and tell him I said so.
I think it's one
Um,
of the only one of the last World War II guys
I
around.
would I would tell you to get a camera in front of him as much as you
I've
can and have him talk
tried.
to it.
I try to. I'll set up a camera and turn it on and sneak back and try to ask
Yeah,
him questions. He doesn't like to talk about it. I think there's a lot of things that happened. That,
yeah.
yeah.
Thank you guys in the chat for coming out and hanging out with us with our interview today. Tomorrow we have not one but two shows. That's right. We're doing a double header here on Eight Questions With. At 2 p.m., we are heading across the pond to the UK to talk to film director Amina Hatchery. She'll be here at 2 p.m. She'll be talking about her movie career, and including directing her first film, which is Aliens versus Gothic Hippies, and
Mm,
that will be at 2 p.m. And that looks fun. It looks
cool.
so fun. And
It
then
sounds intriguing.
I think so too. 8 o'clock, we are back here at our normal time. We will be talking to Louisiana-based makeup artist, Bree Hill. Bree Hill will be here with us tomorrow night at 8 p.m. And she did all the makeup work for The Bog Man, which was an independent film that was written and directed by Mitch Lang. And now we're going to be talking to her about how she made her how she scared everybody on her set. Um, so that'll be at 8 p.m. So that will be the show for tonight. Thank you guys in the chat. You guys rocked it hard as always. Susan, stay right where you're at. Everybody else, thank you so much for coming out. And oh, hey Cal, how are you? Cal Hamahero right here is a film director out of Denmark. Wow, thank you, Cal, for coming out, sir. Wow, I have to show you his interview. Um, and we will talk to you guys tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern time. 2 p.m. Eastern time. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace.